Live from Lane Gymnasium, Lane Tech regular season basketball is on the air for the first time this fall of 2021. The 2021 Battle of the Bridge Thanksgiving Tournament all set to tip off. We have regular season IHSA boys basketball right on the horizon, and it feels as good as ever. We had a spring 2021 season that tipped off between these two teams, actually. A 40-39 victory for Lane, but a lot more normal circumstances this year. Fans are here, band is here. It's a lot louder in this gym than it was during the spring, and these two teams are ready for a fun game of basketball. These two teams have been really very close in their last couple of meetings. The last two matches between these two teams decided by a combined 4 points. Both ended up Lane Tech victories, and actually the last 5 or 6 have been Lane Tech victories. Jones looking for their first win against the Lane basketball team since February of 2015. So plenty of fun storylines as we get set for tonight's action between Jones and Lane Tech. It's definitely two different looking teams than it was last year. Lane Tech returned Sean Malloy, probably one of their top players from last year, but they lose the pair of twins, Aaron and Chris McQueen, so a lot shorter this year, a lot more guard heavy. And that's shown in their Battle of the Bridge, in the green and gold scrimmage. It's just shown they're a lot more guard focused. Got a couple of bigs that we'll see play from tonight, but a really guard focused team this year. And same goes for Jones. They're a shorter team, but they're hoping to use their skill and their speed to their advantage. They graduate Nico Rosic, who is one of their top players from last year. However, they do return the Boston brothers, Devin and Jordan Boston, and they return Ronell Franklin, 3-year varsity player, worked his way into the starting lineup as a sophomore. He has been really good for this Jones team. Averaged 10.5 points a game, 6 assists, 3 rebounds, and 2 steals last year. So he was getting it done across the stat box last year. He hopes to do something similar this year he hopes for another big game against Lane Tech. We have 6:30 to go until tip-off. Captains are meeting at midcourt, Sean Malloy and Ethan Grundebaum for Lane Tech. So we're going to get into your starting lineups who feature those two in the Lane Tech backcourt, but we'll start off with the visiting Jones College Prep Eagles. It's going to be Ethan Samuels, the sophomore, who actually has a connection to this Lane Tech team. He plays AAU with Lane Tech's Shahid Solibo, not in the starting lineup tonight, but those two sophomores know each other quite well, and now they're on the competing sides of the basketball. Also starting tonight will be the junior Ben Mitchell to go along with another junior, William Ajayi. There's a lot of juniors on this Jones College Prep team. 1 sophomore, 6 seniors, and then 10 juniors. It's a young team. A lot of them have junior varsity experience, not so much with varsity experience. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. Also starting tonight will be Devin Boston for Jones College Prep, along with Ronell Franklin and James Matar. Those will be your 5. I believe we just said 6. I think I might have mismarked one of them, either Mitchell or Ajayi. We'll get that in a second. It looks like I mismarked. It's not going to be Ben Mitchell starting in tonight's matchup. My apologies, folks. So it's going to be Samuels, Ajayi, Boston, Devin Boston, Ronell Franklin, and James Matar, your starting 5 for the Jones College Prep Eagles tonight. Now for the starting 5 for Lane Tech. It's about who we expected with a couple of changes. Sean Malloy will be starting along with Ethan Grundebaum in the backcourt. Those two playing along with, and Will Rosenkrantz. Kind of 3 guards starting for Lane Tech today in Rosenkrantz, Malloy, and Grundebaum. All 3 can shoot the ball. Malloy, a very aggressive defender. They're hoping to get the job done on defense tonight and offense. And then to go along with those two, it'll be Jack Soar, the junior, 2nd-year varsity player. He definitely has a shot. We didn't see him use it much on Friday in the green and gold scrimmage. However, they'll be hoping to use it more tonight. And ending things for Lane Tech will be Lucas Basil. Basil did not play a lot last year, but as we mentioned, kind of a deficit for bigs this year. So Basil will be starting in that 5 position tonight for Lane Tech. And he had a great game on Friday. He only had 5 points, but other than the scoring column, great game. He had a matchup with Parker Springer, one of the other bigs for Lane Tech, and just very impressive stuff from him. and they'll be hoping to continue that tonight. It's a busy night across the state for Illinois high school basketball. Both these two teams obviously starting their season, along with many teams in their conference. I believe it might be everyone except Whitney Young in Lane Tech's Red Northwest Conference who are starting their season not for another week or two. They don't start until the Chicago Elite Classic, I believe, but lots of action around the state, lots of action here at Lane Tech and DePaul College Prep in the Battle of the Bridge Thanksgiving Tournament. Other than this game, after this game, it's going to be Notre Dame taking on Englewood, who we will also see the next two nights. Those two teams in particular, we'll talk about them throughout the broadcast, but we expect to see some interesting things from those two teams. Englewood, a newish school. We don't know much about them, but they've got a great coach, and it'll be interesting to see what they are able to do this season. Along with Notre Dame, who you can never write out of the conversation. Notre Dame, obviously always one of the top teams in the state. They graduate 3 Division I players, so whenever you graduate those, it's obviously going to be a little bit of a rebuilding year the next season, but still expecting some interesting stuff from Notre Dame, Niles Notre Dame College Prep this year. So those two going on, facing off right after this one. And then over at DePaul College Prep, we already have one game going on. That was a 4:30 tip-off between DePaul and Lakeview, and then in the nightcap at 6:30 over at DePaul College Prep. Not their new campus. This is still at the Gordon Tech campus, but it will be Niles North taking on Legal Prep, and then obviously more action tomorrow and more action Wednesday. Thursday, the day off for both of these teams, for all the teams in the tournament, and then Friday we will see who wins the championship as well as the other places in this tournament. Jones has looked to, I guess, go back into their locker room with a little under 2 minutes to go. Lane Tech just coming back to their bench. Lane Tech, coached by head coach Nick Lagalvo. He's been with this team for a long time and hoping to improve more this year as we see Lane Tech get to the bench ready for their starting lineups. And what just really interesting to see, it's the first game of the season, so we can't have really good keys of the game from both of these teams. However, the key for both teams, I'll say, is just guard play. They're shorter. They're going to be the shorter team in many matchups this season, and luckily for both of them, they get to start the season against another team that looks somewhat similar to them. But with that, it means they are going to have to shoot the ball really well, and that defense is going to be really important. Talked with Jones head coach Rich Kolofskis earlier this week, and he was just talking about how shots are not always going to fall, but they've been really focusing on the defense for this team to try to get things going, trying to create those transition opportunities. They have a couple of players who are really good in transition offense, including their starting point guard, Ronell Franklin. As we mentioned, he's not the tallest guy, but he's been with this team for a long time, and he's earned his spots because of it. And starting at point guard, we expect him to tonight. All ready for some action. Refs coming to midcourt. Both the teams at their benches. We'll get you the starting lineups once again in just a second as they're announced at by the public address announcer here tonight. But clock is going to buzz. 20 seconds on the clock, and then we will be ready for first tip here at Lane Tech. We're going to turn it over to the public address announcer now. We'll talk in just a minute. You're watching Lane Tech Basketball on the Lane Tech Athletics YouTube channel. there you have it. Starting lineups from night number 1 of Lane Tech High School basketball on this 2021-2022 opening night. Lane Tech versus Jones. Will run you through those starting lineups once again in case you could not hear on the broadcast. It's going to be Samuels, Ajayi, Boston, Franklin, and James Matar. That's going to be Devin Boston, not his brother Jordan Boston, starting things off. And Malloy, Soar, Grunebaum, Rosencrantz, and Lucas Basil starting off at the 1 through 5 spot for Lane Tech. Tonight, in the circle to start things off, it is going to be Matar, the senior who's listed as a shooting guard, but seems to be playing in the big role tonight alongside Lucas Basil of Lane Tech. Lane in their home whites, dressed in, laced in green. Jones in their away navy blues, and we're underway here at Lane Tech for the 2021 regular season. Grunebaum wins the ball early on. We expect him to be in the point guard 1 role this season for Lane Tech. But right next to him, Sean Malloy, who's more in the 2 spot. Far side, Rosencrantz gets it, and Lane Tech working the perimeter early. They get in the corner. The Grunebaum, no good on the early 3. Rebounded by Rosencrantz. He can't get to go, and Jones will get possession for the first time tonight. Franklin will bring things up quickly for the Eagles. Samuels, that young sophomore, gets the ball, and they'll reverse it to Matar. Jones, nice movement early on. Back to Franklin. Lane with man-to-man defense early on. That's what we see from this team almost every year. Occasionally they'll switch it up. It looks like they're going with man-to-man to start off tonight. Samuels with it, gets a screen to his right-hand side. A long possession here from Jones, a minute into the game, and we just have 1 possession for each of these teams. Driving down low, ball will be lost, recovered by Rosencrantz, and Lane Tech has their first turnover of the night. Grunebaum thinks about another 3, instead will cross it. Now Soar in the corner for 3, no good. That'll be punched out by Grunebaum. Nice play there from the point guard. Now Grunebaum will try his second 3 of the night, no good. A lot of missed shots early on from these 2 teams, and Malloy will get it. So a third chance opportunity for this Lane Tech team. Grunebaum calling for some movement, gets it to Basil on the outside. Basil, an untraditional big. We see him play from the perimeter a lot as Malloy goes for the reverse layup and gets it to go. 2 early points for Sean Malloy, and Lane Tech with the early 2-0 lead. Jones moving the basketball very fast early on as Samuels gets it for the Eagles. Now they'll get it to Ajayi at the top. Ball seems to be moving through their point guard Franklin early as the 3 from Matar is good. The big man gets the first 3 of the game, and Jones out to an early 1-point lead, 3-2, 5:53 to go in the first quarter. Rosencrantz gets double teamed. Looks like Jones playing with a zone defense, 3-2 early on. You see both in high school basketball, more accustomed to the man-to-man with Lane Tech, but both teams have it as Malloy pulls for 3, no good. Lane Tech really cold shooting out of the gate as Jones playing quickly on the other side as the 2 is good from number 1, Devin Boston. The senior gets his first points of the night and a 5-2 early lead for Jones. Lane Tech really going to need to improve their shooting early on if they want to contend in this one. Malloy dishes it to Basil, down low, misses it, gets his own rebound. The tallest player on the court by looks like an inch or 2, and he's going to get fouled early on. Foul is going to be called on number 21, Romel Franklin, and they do not want him to get into early foul trouble. Probably the most instrumental player on this team, both from a leadership standpoint and from a playing standpoint. As Basil takes his first free throw, and it's good. He gets onto the scoreboard. He had 5 points in the green and gold game for Lane Tech on Friday, hoping to score a couple more today. As it's scored now 5-3. Scoreboard hasn't been adjusted. Second free throw is good as well. So Basil goes 2 for 2 from the free throw line to start, and it is a 1-point Jones lead as Franklin brings things up once again for the Eagles. Thanks for joining us. Alex Burstein on the call as we kick off the 2021, or I should say tip off the 2021 boys basketball IHSA season. Samuels, we see him gain the ball a lot as just a sophomore. Now a long free from Franklin, no good, rebounded by Malloy. Franklin can make those shots. I was looking at some film from him, and he just completely pulled from downtown a lot in the film. So not afraid to shoot the ball, doesn't get it in that time, but don't be surprised to see him take a couple more of those tonight, as Grunebaum will take things up. Grunebaum had a rough night shooting in the green and gold game as he dishes it off to Rosenkrantz, and 0 for 2 early for the senior point guard. They get to a wide open Soar, now down low to Malloy. Soar fires for 3, his second try of the night. This one takes a bad bounce, and it will go into the hands of Malloy. Malloy playing really inside the three-point arc, but this one's going to be stolen by Samuels. 1-on-3, Samuels goes up, and a block by Sean Malloy. The crowd loves it here. Nice couple of different student sections for Lane Tech here tonight. And they're fired up about that one, but it was a nice play by Samuels, gained the steal and decided to go in for it, especially even though he was outmatched 3-1. They get it to Boston. Boston with the long two, no good. It's the rim, that will be stolen. Aggressive defense here from Jones. Samuel Obioma now into the game for Jones. As Franklin gets the rebound, top the key, Matar. He pulls for 3, his second of the game, it's good. He's making it rain early, 8-4. Jones with a 4-point lead. Every time these two teams play, it seems to be close, but Jones taking the early lead tonight. Malloy gets it inside to Basil. Post move, gets fouled. He'll head to the line for the second time tonight. If there was one thing Basil needed to work on after that first game, it was getting inside the paint, not being afraid to be that big man down low. We saw him drive a couple times, play along the perimeter, but in a game like this, especially when Jones has no one really to counter him, it's going to be really important he gets those reps down low. It's going to be a full timeout called by, I think that was Jones. So we forgot to mention Samuel Obioma into the game now, a former middle school basketball teammate of mine in for the Jones Eagles. And Jones off to a hot start, mostly thanks to the performance of James Matar. I mean, it's been an all-around performance, but scoring-wise, 2 threes from him. He has 6 points to go along with 2 from Devin Boston. Boston had 11 against Lane last year. He was one of the high scorers along with Nico Rosic, a now graduated member of this squad, but expect big things from Boston tonight. Matar was taking varsity workouts as a sophomore, and as I said during tip-off, he's listed as a shooting guard. He took the tip from the center just because he's maybe the tallest guy in this team, but he's really been developed as a shooting player, and he's showing early 2 outside shots, both good, and an 8-4 Jones lead early on. Thanks for joining us. Alex Bursing on the call here from Lane Gymnasium. Great to have high school hoops back here in Illinois, and we'll try to get you updates from the other game. I saw one and forgot to mention it. DePaul with an early lead at the end of the first, 23-7 over Lakeview. And in this Battle of the Bridge tournament, DePaul the clear favorite. They're ranked, I believe, 14th by the Chicago Sun-Times, the only ranked team. Kind of surprising, no Niles Notre Dame ranking after they graduated a lot of their players last year. As Basil heads to the free throw line, and he is now 3 for 3. Impressive stuff from him, 8-5 the score. I think he at least missed 1 or 2 on Friday's game, so already better than that as he goes 3 for 3 to start. And now he'll miss one off the front of the rim. 8-5, the score stays in Jones's favor as Franklin brings the ball up for the Eagles. Obioma, tight defense, sets a screen. That's going to be taken by Basil. He's all by himself, dunks it in! Lucas Basil, 5 points in the first 5 minutes of the game, 8-7. Now just a 1-point game. Breakaway steal for the senior, and it looks like we'll have 2 subs into the game soon for Lane Tech. It'll be Joseph Perona and A.J. Zanders. Boston with the ball, tight defense from Grunebaum. He drives in, now he's going to dish it out to Franklin. Franklin drives, and he'll miss it. So back-to-back drives from Jones, neither one successful, and Basil eats up a rebound down low. Impressive stuff from him. Soar almost loses the ball. Now he will lose it. Layup by Boston, no good, but he'll get fouled and head to the free throw line. A game of free throws, usually we say that in the fourth quarter, but it's turning into that in the first quarter. 8-7, the Jones lead with 2:46 to go in the first quarter of action. Lucas Basil with 5 early on for Lane Tech, and James Matar with 6 early on, but he's been quiet for the last couple of minutes for the Jones Eagles. First free throw from Boston is good. He's up to 3 on the night, and Zanders and Perona will come in for Soar and Rosencrantz. Zanders, a second-year varsity player, likes to shoot the ball. He can make his shots too. However, we saw him off and on with his shooting on Friday night. Joseph Perona, also in his second year, a two-sport athlete, also with baseball. Second free throw from Boston, good as well, and the lead back up to 3 for the Eagles. But Perona definitely plays a guard position. He's an aggressive player, but often used to his advantage. They get to a wide-open Malloy who tries to drive instead of shoot it. Interesting choice there, as now the other Boston brother into the game, and a foul is going to be called. It's going to be a charge on Jordan Boston now into the game. Those are twins, for those of you wondering. Devin and Jordan Boston in their second year with this Jones College Prep varsity team. Fast passing from Lane Tech down the court. They get it down low to Basil. He goes up for 2, and he'll miss it. The tip-in is good. And those second chances are going to be really important for Lane Tech tonight with that height. They should get some rebounds, mainly from Basil. But if he can put those back up, that will get to a lot of points. Now Grunebaum gets the steal, goes up for 2. Won't get the and 1, but he will head to the free throw line, and he has a chance to give Lane Tech the lead for the first time tonight. 10-9, the Jones College Prep lead. That's going to be the second foul of the night. Scoreboard's flashing number 22. Oh, Sam Obioma. Not what he wants, just a couple minutes after coming into the game, but he's playing pretty aggressive defensively. As first free throw from Grunebaum is an air ball. Didn't even hit the rim, and he'll have a second chance here. Grunebaum last year was like a three-point specialist, gained a lot of strength over the offseason. Now we see him as a much more of a threat to drive as well, as he makes his second free throw. And we have an all tied up game, 10-10 here, folks, with 2 minutes to go in the first quarter of action. Lane Tech now with 4 guys in the backcourt on the press, but Jones able to break it. Franklin outside, Samuels to Matar. That's going to be stolen by Perona. Perona goes up for 2, gets it. No foul, but Lane Tech has the lead 12-10, and Lane Tech is going to continue with this press. Looks like they're just playing full court man-to-man right now, but Jones breaking it somewhat easily. And it's going to be a foul called on Grunebaum, his first of the night. Halftime score from over at DePaul College Prep. It's a 39-12 lead for the Rams over Lakeview. Big lead there, and as we said, we kind of expect them to coast to Friday's final, but there can always be some upsets in college basketball, high school basketball, so we'll see. Stephen Goonan now in the game, along with Parker Springer for Lane Tech. As Franklin dishes it to Boston. Boston being guarded by Zanders. Boston drives right-hand side, goes up for 2. He'll miss it, rebounded by Zanders. Jones fighting for the rebound, but Lane Tech comes with it. Goonan, who had 18 Friday night in the green and gold game, misses his first shot attempt. Springer gets it down low. He gets triple teamed, and it's going to be lost. I think Matar might have got the official block. Franklin was spin moved out to the corner to Samuels. Now Matar fires for 3. He's got it off the backboard. 13-12, 1-point lead. He has 9 points on the night. Game's leading scorer. Now Perona will drive right-hand side, dish it to Springer. Springer goes up for 2. They'll call him for the foul. During the inter-squad scrimmage on Friday night, it was Springer versus Basil, and Basil really won that matchup, so we really didn't get to see Springer's true abilities under the basket. However, even as a second-string big, it seems here, he's really the tallest guy in the court against these Jones Eagles. As first free throw from Springer is good. He was a second-year varsity player, however, did not get many minutes last year. A couple of these guys didn't really. Perona and Malloy did, but we see on the court right now, Goonan didn't get a lot. Sanders didn't get a lot. Springer, as we said, didn't get a lot. So a much different-looking team for Lane Tech as the second free throw, no good. We're all tied up at 13, 40 seconds on the clock. Franklin bringing the ball up very slowly. We'll see. Maybe they're trying for a final shot. 32 seconds now. Apologies for the camera there, folks. 25 seconds now. Franklin holding with it. Franklin loses the ball, and they are going to call him out of bounds. So possession will now go to Lane Tech. So Jones fumbles a prime opportunity for the last shot, and now Lane Tech has it on their scoring half with 15.7 seconds to go. William Ajayi will sub into the game for Jones. Franklin also going to come out of the game. So it looks like a bunch of shooters on the court right now for Jones. Though not sure if they're going to get a final shot as Malloy brings it across half court with 10 seconds. Perona thinks about the three, now 7 seconds. Malloy back with it. Malloy, spin move, drives up the middle, goes up for two. He's got the two. 4 points on the night for him. A shot won't go off, and Lane Tech takes the first quarter lead, 15-13. No super high scores for either team, but Lane Tech takes the early lead. We'll head to the second quarter of action. We'll be back in just a second. You're watching Lane Tech basketball on Lane Tech Athletics YouTube channel. Looked as if Jones might take an early control in the first couple minutes of this game, but Lane Tech fires back, and they are up by 2 now, 15-13. 8 minutes into this contest. Thanks for joining us. Alex Burstein on the call here from Lane Gymnasium for night 1 of Battle of the Bridge Thanksgiving tournament action. 2 games going on right now, one at the old Gordon Tech campus, one here obviously between Lane Tech and Jones, and a big lead for Niles Notre Dame for the DePaul College Prep over Lakeview. At the other campus, it will be Jones College Prep basketball, it looks like, to start the quarter. Samuels, both of the Boston brothers, Obioma and Franklin on the court for the Eagles. Perona, Malloy, Zanders, Goonan, and Basil on the court. Springer checks out for Lane Tech. Boston drives right-hand side. Jordan Boston gets it to go, and we're all tied up at 15 again. You know, would not be surprised if that's how we see this whole game go. Back and forth play between the two squads as Basil gets it down low. Franklin punches a steal out. A foul will be called. It was Goonan and Jordan Boston fighting for it. Only reason we're going with the first name for Jordan and Devin Boston is because there's 2 of them, folks. As we're all tied up at 15, the foul called on number 2, Jordan Boston. Goonan trying to inbound it, almost gets it to Basil. Instead, it'll be taken by Jones. It was just a little too tall for him. And now Franklin with it far side. Samuels for 3, no good. That will be rebounded by Basil. Gives it to Malloy, and Malloy will push the ball up the court, Nice thing for Lane Tech with all these guards is they have a couple different guys who can be trusted bringing the ball up the court as Basil pulls for 3. No good. Rebounded out of bounds. Went off of Malloy. Obioma with a last-second try, and we will see Shahid Solibo for the first time tonight. Also checking in Ethan Grunebaum for Zanders and Malloy. Shahid and his teammate Samuels both play on the same AAU squad, so they know each other quite well. However, not guarding each other at the moment as Samuels gets trapped in the backcourt, but we'll get it to Jordan Boston. Boston driving up the middle, goes up for 2. No good, however, he will get the foul call and will head to the line to shoot a pair of free throws. 15-15 the score, 6:58 to go. Solivo, a sophomore, the only sophomore on this Lane Tech team in his second year with the squad. He's going to be a 4-year varsity player, most likely. His first free throw, no good. Boston was one of the key contributors for this team last year. Now he returns for his second year, playing a big role for this Jones varsity team. Misses his second free throw, though, 0 for 2 from the line. And Perona gets the rebound. And that's what we're talking about with that aggressiveness from Perona. He takes it himself. Bad pass is going to go off of Solivo, the ref says, and Jones will get the ball back. Into the game for Jones is going to be Makai Singleton. And looks like Samuel's taken out of the game. Refs talk things over, and they decide with the same call they had at the start, Jones possession. And Franklin will bring the ball up the court. Singleton gets it inside to Obioma. Jones's passing has been really good tonight, but a travel will be called on Franklin. Not what he wants for the point guard, and it will be a turnover for him. As we said, the offense really being run through him, so any tiny mistake like that really hurts this Jones team. Looks like Perona taking on the point guard one job right now, even with Grunebaum in the game. Long pass to Solivo. Perona fires for 3. That's going to be long. Air ball rebounded by Devin Boston. Singleton passes off to Franklin. Now in the corner to Jordan Boston. Last year, if I remember correctly, we did not see the Boston brothers play at the same time as much, as Obioma goes up for the layup, no good. Grunebaum gets the ball after it hits off a couple of players. Perona fakes a 3, drives in, goes up for 2. He's got it. Nice finish there for the senior. And Lane Tech back in the lead 17-15 after we were at a 15-15 stalemate for quite some time. Singleton fires for 3. That ball is going to get stuck. Possession, Lane Tech. What are the odds? Your first shot of the season goes in, or it doesn't go in. It gets stuck in between the basket. Jones tried to have a couple subs. The ref said no, and now they're going to say yes. So coming into the game is going to be number 33, Drake Bartoli and Ethan Samuels, as Obioma and one other came out for the Eagles. Down low, Basil misses the post play, and Jones will have a chance to tie it up. Boston goes up, gets the layup, it's good, 17-17. Just over 5 minutes to go here in the second quarter of action here. They get to Basil down low, being guarded by Devin Boston. He goes up for 2, misses it, gets his own rebound. He's had a bunch of those tonight. Goes up for 2, tries for his second rebound on this possession, can't get it. And the Eagles will get the ball back. Sean Malloy going to check in soon for Lane. Hasn't been a dead ball since he went over to the scorer's table, though, so he'll stay over there. Perona tries for the steal. They'll say it went off of him. And possession will stay with the Eagles, as Malloy checks in for Perona, and Malloy is going to be guarding Franklin. Those two know each other, played AAU for the Illinois Jaguars, and yet another connection. Their head coach on that team, Matt Villanueva, one of the assistant coaches on this Lane Tech team. So plenty of connections. A lot of guys on this Lane Tech team and across the city play with that Jaguars program. So not surprised we see a connection here, and probably we'll see a couple more throughout the games this season. Franklin with the long inbound pass all the way to Jordan Boston on the other side of the court, as Grunebaum gets called for his second foul of the night, blocking foul. Had a couple early fouls in that green and gold game earlier this week as well, so that's definitely not what he wants. They don't want him getting in trouble, although his shooting has not been as good as usual in these first couple of minutes we've seen. He'll hope to get that back, and the whistles are going to blow by the refs. Kind of a confusing sequence of events. It's going to be a sub as Rosenkrantz comes in for Grunebaum, who's now on the bench with 2 fouls. Boston with it near the top of the key. He likes to drive, goes up for it, and will miss it, but gets fouled, and he'll head to the line for 2. We've seen him do that a couple times tonight already. Just takes it from the perimeter and decides, hey, I want to go up the paint. Does that right there. Doesn't get the ball to go in, but he'll get fouled and have a chance to give the Eagles their first lead in a little while. 17-17 the score. That foul was called on Solivo as the first free throw is good from Boston. Two brothers now have combined for 9 points on the night. Second free throw good as well. Low scoring game. Last time these two teams played, it was to open the 2021 spring season as Basel gets 2 to go and we're all tied up once again. But as we were saying, it was to open the spring season for Lane Tech due to the pandemic. All the dates were messed up. But although Jones was leading at halftime, Lane Tech ended with the 1-point win as Solibo is going to take it and push the pace himself. Solibo loses it while going in for the layup though. Ball up in the air, Boston ends up with it. And 19-19 the score. Jones with a chance to take the lead, 3:50 to go in the first half. Boston gives it out to Samuels. Solibo with some somewhat loose defense on Franklin. Franklin takes his dribbles. And will hand it off to Boston. Boston gives it to his brother. Now back to Franklin. As we were saying, offense really goes through him. And down low, the 2 by Bartoli is good. 21-19. These two teams just trading buckets at this point, so no one really able to take a lead. The foul is going to be called on Jordan Boston. No team quite in the bonus yet. Lane Tech is close with 7 fouls now on Boston. Oh no, that must have been the 8th foul. And Basel is going to head to the line. It's going to be a full timeout called by Lane Tech, I believe. 21-19 the score. So that was the 7th foul, excuse me, but it does put Lane Tech into the bonus. Not a super clean game to this point. 7 fouls for Jones, 5 for Lane Tech in this first half of play, which is more than we usually see, I'd like to say. Nothing too bad on the foul end of stuff, however, just some small fouls the refs are calling on this first night of IHSA basketball. Thanks for joining us. Alex Bursey on the call here on the Lane Tech Athletics YouTube channel. Always fun on this first night of basketball. We do not have any more score updates yet from the DePaul College Prep bracket of the tournament right now. They are kind of starting the games at different times this year. DePaul's game starting at 4:30 and 6:30, while the Lane game starting at 5 and 7 on any given night. And then the same thing will happen on Friday for the finals. It'll be the 7th and 3rd place games being held here at Lane Tech. The 1st and 5th place games being held over at DePaul Prep. Lane Tech obviously hoping they'll be competing for a title as Basel heads to the line, his 3rd trip there tonight. He's 3 for 4. First shot, no good. He thought he should have had that ball. The ref made an error. It was a 1-and-1 considering it was the bonus. Basel probably would have had a 2 there. Now the refs are going to talk things over. It was not a shooting foul. It was just a common foul near the free throw line. And it was the 7th foul, so it should be a 1-and-1 for bonus. Now the refs are going to talk to the head coaches at midcourt. I'm not sure what else they can do here. Maybe they'll just give Basel another free throw. Sucks for him as he would have had an easy 2 there. As the Jones players didn't move either, which is kind of weird. Just some confusion out of the timeout. And instead they're going to just give the ball to Lane Tech, it looks like. So Lane Tech possession. They don't get any official free throws out of it. But Malloy will inbound it to Solibo, and a push foul is going to be called either on Franklin or Bartoli under the basket there. And now Solibo will head to the line. So this time it's definitely a 1-and-1. The refs know now. 8 fouls on the half for Jones. A couple quick ones here to put Lane Tech up there in the foul, to put Jones up there in the foul count, as first free throw from the sophomore is good. He gets his first points of the night. 21-20 to tie it. No good off the front of the rim, and that's going to go off of one of the Jones players who was around it, either Jordan Boston or Drake Bartoli. It looked as if Malloy might have gotten a fingertip, but refs disagree. And now Tsur will inbound things for Lane Tech. Out to Solibo. He'll slow things down. Gets it in the corner to Rosenkrantz. Rosenkrantz down low. Basil working things in the post. Goes up for two. He got it. Legalbo, Lane Tech's head coach, happy with that play. And Lane Tech back in the lead, 22-21. Decent fan showing for night one here of the Battle of the Bridge tournament as the press by Lane Tech works. Solibo passes it to Malloy. Nice little play there. 24-21. Timeout going to be called by Jones College Prep. It is going to be a 30-second timeout, but nice little turn of events there for Lane Tech. They get the two to go to take the lead, and then they get the steal with their press, and a nice play there with Solibo dishing the ball off. Unselfish play from him. And now 24-21 the score. It's 11 points already tonight for number 24, Lucas Basil. He had just 6 in the green and gold game, so already almost doubled that. He had some high-scoring games as a freshman, and the freshman team had 16 points one game, but obviously more quiet the last 2 years. Did not play much at all last year, and now really embracing that starting role. It'll be Solibo, Tsur, Malloy, Rosenkrantz, and Basil. Your 5 on the court for Lane Tech here. 2:47 to go. As Devin Boston gets it to Franklin. Lane Tech continuing with this press. Jones gets past it now, and here's where it's dangerous. Samuel, step back 3, the sophomore, no good. Rebounded by Basil. Malloy gets it to Rosenkrantz. They'll try a 3 of their own, and he gets it. Strange shooting motion on that shot, but all that matters is it went in, and now Lane Tech with their biggest lead of the night, 27-21. Steal by Malloy on the other side of the court, and Lane Tech will look to make it a bigger lead here. Basil up for 2, no good. Rebounded by Bartoli. He'll get right on his man there, and now Lane Tech will back off the press. Driving, Boston, he'll get fouled. I'm guessing they'll call it on Solibo there. However, Rosenkrantz was also over there. And 2 free throws for Boston here. Lane Tech with a bit of momentum here. Up by 6, 27-21. Jones trying to quiet that here with their guy at the free throw line. First shot. That one is good. 27-22 now. Boston is up to 7 points on the night. Not sure what his career high is. Had a couple of big-ish games last year, him and his brother. His second free throw is good as well. 27-23, 4-point lead for Lane Tech. And they'll hope to show that that couple minutes of success was not a fluke here. So Lebo drives out to Rosenkrantz. They're going to say he pushed the guy defending him. An offensive foul. So Lebo getting some early foul trouble. I think that's his 3rd on the night to go along with just 1 point. They'll have to check him out of the game with Zanders coming in. And Lane Tech's going to stick with his 4 guys in the backcourt press. Basil, the lone guy defending the shooting basket. I can't tell if it's man-to-man that they're doing here. It looks like it is. Almost looks like, oh no, it's more of a 2-2 zone, I guess you could say, in the backcourt. Tsur and Malloy try to trap Franklin. They'll get it to Bartoli, who breaks the press to Samuels. Samuels on the other side is going to get called for a travel there. And after Jones escapes the press pretty easily. They turn it over. Bartoli checks into the game for Matar after a couple early threes from him. He's been mostly quiet. As Malloy gets it to Soar, far side Malloy. Now quick basketball to Basil. Sanders down low trying for his first points. Can't get it, and one by Lucas Basil though. He's gotten a lot of second chance points off of his own baskets. Now he gets some second chance points off of someone else's missed shot. As Xander's misfortune turns into Basil's treasure, 29-23 the score. He's up to 13 points, the game's leading scorer. Just one shot here as he did make the shot. Foul was called on Jones's Bartoli, and it will be a three-point play. 14 points now for the senior big man. Lane continuing with this press. Jones has broken it most of the time. However, once Lane Tech was able to get some points off of it, and it will be a pass out of bounds by Franklin. Lane Tech gets possession. Lane Tech fans happy with that call. Franklin was trying to go around Xanders, but his pass hits the baseline, and now 30-23 the score, a 7-point Lane Tech lead. They could make it double digits potentially here. 1:05 seconds on the clock. Rosenkrantz for three. No good, rebounded by Devin Boston. Ball's on the ground though. Basil gets it and dunks it, his second of the game. Basil just having fun with it. He's up to 16 on the night. 50 seconds on the clock and a 9-point Lane Tech lead, the biggest of the night for either team. Matar pulls for three, trying to quiet the momentum. He can't. Basil decides to take it himself. A foul by Franklin. He was doing that one on purpose, you can tell, trying to slow this Lane Tech momentum. 32-23. Lane Tech with the lead, and this is definitely the most momentum we have seen from either team tonight. Lane Tech now in the double bonus, so Basil will get to shoot 2 free throws. He's been up and down from the free throw line tonight. No fouls, 16 points. An amazing first half here from Basil. First free throw, no good. Now Malloy thinks it's a 1-and-1. All the players confused with bonus and double bonus tonight. However, he will get one more shot at it. Second free throw is no good. Basil tries to get his own rebound, then goes off of Malloy, ends up in the hands of Jones. 30 seconds left. Last time Jones had a play like this, they decided to hold and ended up turning it over, and they're gonna do it again. Basil pushing the pace, playing like a guard, passes it out to Malloy, 20 seconds. Dishes it down low, and Basil gets it. Nice court vision there from Sean Malloy. No look pass to his teammate. 34-23, an 11-point lead for Lane Tech. Bad pass, Lane Tech will get the ball one more time this half with 4.8 seconds to go. Lane Tech will call timeout. It is going to be a full timeout. And this Lane Tech crowd is electric. 34-23 after most of this half. It was all even, just trading baskets. Lane Tech with a nice run here. And a 34-23 lead for Lane Tech. This is what we missed of high school basketball. Electric fans, the band is here. Although we were happy to get some action in the spring for the the official 2020-2021 season. Nothing like this. Games kind of didn't really matter with no playoffs. This game definitely matters. Teams competing to just have a nice start to the season and competing for that Battle of the Bridge Thanksgiving title. No updates from over at DePaul Prep, where DePaul Prep is hosting Lakeview right now at the old Gordon Tech campus. And Lane Tech will see what Legallo has drawn up. 34-23. They have 4.8 seconds to try to extend their lead here at the end of the half. 18 points for Lucas Basil. He's on the court along with Malloy, Xanders, Rosenkrantz, and Soar. It'll be Malloy, the lone guy in the backcourt. Takes it. 4 seconds now. Malloy gets past half court. He's going to try for three. The shot. It's no good off the front of the rim. kind of reminiscent of a of a missed shot he had at the end of a game against Marshall, I believe it was, 2 seasons ago, but it does not matter. Lane Tech still up by 11, double digits at the end of the first half. It was back and forth to start it off, back and forth to start the second as well, but then we saw Lucas Basil come alive, 18 points for the senior in the first half. We'll be back in a couple minutes to recap first half action, get things ready for half number 2 and the rest of the week. You're watching Lane Tech basketball on the Lane Tech Athletics YouTube channel. How about that for some first half action? 18 points for Lucas Basil and Lane Tech as they take a 34-23 halftime lead. Thanks for joining us, Alex Burstein, on the call here from Lane Gymnasium. Lane Tech band and cheerleaders gaining some performances during the halftime. 4:23 to go on the clock for the rest of halftime as Lane Tech comes out of the locker room. They've got the lead, but definitely this game is not over. Kind of an opposite story from last year when Jones led at the half. That game a lot lower scoring. It was 15-12. Jones led at the half, and then it ended 40-37. I think it's somewhat safe to say both of these teams are going to get over their scores that they had last year. It was an interesting game because Lane Tech had played, it was their first game this season, and Jones had already played 2 or 3. So Lane was a lot newer, and they ended up winning that game by just 1 point. But they're putting on the offensive fireworks. It was pretty tight for the first 12 minutes or so of that game, and then that last 4 minutes of the second quarter, the offense really came alive. A large part, in fact, to that Lane Tech full court press. It's like a 2-2 zone, you could call it. Jones tried their movements. A couple times they got past it, but even when they did, they seemed a little dismantled, and a lot of turnovers led to that. Some by Basil, some by Malloy. Malloy with some great passing down low. He's had a great game, but as we mentioned, Basil, the star for tonight. We do have our first final from the Battle of the Bridge Thanksgiving tournament. That is going to be DePaul over Lakeview in a big one, 76-18. DePaul has some young players who are apparently lining up. I'm just getting all my updates from Twitter, but that's going to be our first result of the 2021 Battle of the Bridge Thanksgiving tournament. And this one will be the next one to go final. Then at 6:30, it will be Niles North taking on Legal Prep over at Gordon Tech, the Gordon Tech campus. And then after that, it will be Notre Dame taking on Englewood STEM. That should be a fun one. I saw the Englewood STEM team come into the gym. We're not going to have to call it that one, but I saw them come into the gym a little earlier. Not sure where they went. Probably in a classroom right now, getting all set for their first game of the season. 2 minutes on the clock as Lane Tech gets in some shots before the second half of action. Thanks for joining us. Lots of action around the state. We'll take you around the conference for Lane Tech. As we mentioned in our pregame, Whitney Young not playing in a Thanksgiving tournament, I believe. I could not find their name anywhere. But Westinghouse taking on Willowbrook at St. Charles East. That is a 5:45 tip-off, so that probably just got started a couple minutes ago. Orr is taking on Fenwick on the road to start the season on Wednesday. Fenwick lost some guys via transfer in the past couple of years, but that should always be a fun one. Orr ranked in the top 25. Clark taking on Guilford at Rockford on Friday. Farragut taking on Kenwood at Orr on Sunday. Marshall taking on Boylan on Tuesday, and I believe they're hosting Boylan on Tuesday. Lincoln Park taking on Phoenix at Clemente. That was a 5 p.m. first game tip-off, so not sure what the score is there. And then finally, Schurz taking on North Lawndale. That should be a fun one. Those are 2 teams, both in the conference. They're taking on each other at Grant at 7 p.m. as part of the Grant/Mundelein Thanksgiving tournament. So lots of action around the Chicago Public Red Northwest, including a conference matchup. No promotion/demotion in the Red Northwest or in the Chicago Public League at all last year, just because of how weird of a season it was. So those will be your 10 teams. Lane Tech will be, or 9 teams Lane Tech will be playing up against in this conference play. Always a tough conference schedule for Lane Tech. They've also set a very tough non-conference schedule, starting with this Battle of the Bridge Thanksgiving tournament. And looks as if we're just about ready for second half action. It's going to be Matar, both of the Boston brothers, Franklin and Samuels, your starting 5 for the Eagles. And it will be Malloy, Tsor, Basil, Rosenkrantz, and Grunebaum, your starting 5. And we're ready for second half basketball here at Lane Gymnasium. Jones gets the ball first to start things off. Boston with 8 points. Jordan Boston bringing the ball up the court. I believe he's probably the second leading scorer for Jones tonight behind Matar, as foul called on Tsor early on for Lane Tech. You can see Legallo on the bottom left of the screen showing Tsor how to guard that without fouling. An early foul for Lane Tech, and Jordan Boston will head to the line. Excuse me, Devin Boston will. So the leading scorer for Jones is going to be Matar. He had 3 early threes, as first free throw is good. He had 3 early threes and then has been quiet since. And then Jordan Boston has almost caught up to him with 8. And after that first free throw, Devin Boston has 5. Those are your top scorers for Jones. And now Devin Boston has 6. 34-25. Jones gets it back within single digits. Malloy driving. Spin move, misses the first one, tries for his own rebound, fighting for it. That will be taken by Boston. Pushing pace, nice spin move, and a block by Malloy. They're going to call it Lane Tech basketball. Looked as if Jordan Boston had the big advantage there in the fast break. But Malloy with a monster block, his second of the game. And now the senior will get it on the offensive side of things. Rosenkrantz fires for 3. He's got it! Nothing but net for Will Rosenkrantz. 37-25, 12-point lead for Lane Tech. 7:11 to go in the third quarter. Lane Tech student section getting loud. Boston gives it off to his brother. Defense by Grunebaum. Lane Tech sticking with that man-to-man here in the second half. Worked pretty well for them during the first 16 minutes. Malloy overshoots the steal. Now Franklin will drive. Out to Boston for 3. No good. Rebounded by Matar. A foul's going to be called on. Must be on Matar. No one else was really around there. Yep, he'll get called for his 3rd foul of the game. He might be coming out soon. But Lane Tech gets the basketball back without Jones doing any damage. Grunebaum calls his play. Back in the point guard role here for Lane Tech. Malloy to Rosenkrantz. Rosenkrantz with the hot hand gives it off to Storr. Looked like he was going to think about the 3 there. Down low to Basil. He is up to 20. 39-25. Lane Tech is 1 point away from tying their score in last March's, maybe it's February's game, as a ball is going to go off of Lane Tech and stay with Jones. But yeah, they scored 40 in February, already with 39 with 14 minutes to go in this one. Devin Boston with it, dishes out to Matar. Jordan Boston holding things, gives it off to Franklin, who's going to hold things. Franklin has been held scoreless tonight. That has been a big part of Lane Tech's success and how they're up to a 14-point lead right now. Franklin out to Matar, who fires for 3, no good. Ever since he hit those 3s in the first quarter, I believe they were all in the first quarter, he's been mostly quiet. Tsor driving, left-hand side, the lefty passes out to Rosenkrantz, same spot for 3, no good. Tsor will get the rebound though after a punch out. Diving for it, he will get it, ball goes out of bounds, and they will say it is off of the junior, and Jones will get the basketball back. Yeah, when I was doing my prep, I definitely would not have told you that Ramel Franklin has 0 points 3 minutes into the second half, as a foul is going to be called on Lane Tech. Or maybe they just called it out of bounds. No, we're coming up to the score table now. Or no, I guess they didn't. Jones gets the basketball under their scoring basket. Obioma checks into the game for Jones. Boston hands it off to Franklin. 5:20 to go in the third quarter. Lane Tech's offense picking up just where they left off at the end of the first half. And this is where Jones found their success early, getting as many passes as they needed to in on each drive, kind of working things around the perimeter and finding those open shots. Lane Tech not laying them in at all. Franklin tries to back in. He's going to get double teamed, now out to an open Boston. He'll drive the baseline, go up for two, no good. Rebounded by Obiomo, goes up for two. He'll get fouled by Tsor and head to the line. Obiomo with 2 fouls, still looking for his first points of the night. That's the 3rd foul on the night for Tsor, so we'll see if he stays in the game. First free throw by Obiomo, no good. Zanders is going to check into the game for Tsor now. So with foul trouble, he'll come back to the bench, and Zanders, who's yet to score tonight, but we know likes to shoot the ball, will come in. Jones only put 1 guy in the paint, and they won't need anyone as Obiomo makes the second free throw. 39-26, 13-point lead. Rosenkrantz thinks about the 3, pulls, no good, rebounded by Matar. Jones gets the ball back quickly. Driving is Samuels. Samuels goes up for 2. The sophomore will head it to the free throw line. And this is what it was like a lot in the first quarter of play. Just a lot of free throws back and forth on both teams. Now it's mainly Jones taking the shots. Lane already up to 3 fouls, not even 4 minutes into this third quarter of action. His first free throw is good. That foul was called on Rosenkrantz, his first of the game. We'll have subs in right now, I think, for Lane Tech, as Perona and Salibo come in for Malloy and Rosenkrantz. Those two who just checked out have been playing great tonight for Lane Tech. And now Perona and Salibo will hope to do the same. Second free throw from Samuels. That's good. And now an 11-point lead, still double digits, but Jones clawing back at this one. They only put Franklin on the full court press. Zanders bringing things up. Interesting there as Perona cuts the middle, goes up for 2, gets it to go. And Lane Tech up to 41 points now on the night. Franklin in the corner to Samuels, goes up for 2. He got it. Nice little scoring spree for him. And Jones staying in this one. Grunbaum, long pass. They're going to say he got pushed while passing it. Sanders would have had the open shot. And now Lane Tech will get it under their basket at the second foul called this half on Jones. Grunbaum inbounds it to Salibo. 1 touch, he got it. Didn't even need the fall back on the ground. 43-30. 13-point lead for Lane. Pass inside to Samuels. Tries a little Euro step down low to Matar. He'll get fouled while going up for the shot. And Lane Tech, they have the lead, but one thing they're going to want to work on tonight, not getting that down low foul. Really struggling with that tonight. Going to be a full timeout called by Lane Tech, I believe. 43-30, 3:47 to go in the third quarter. We'll take a break and be back in just a second. You're watching Lane Tech basketball on the Lane Tech Athletics YouTube channel. We're about an hour into this one, and strong stuff from Lane Tech. They're up by 13, but Jones looking to cut into that lead with James Matar at the line, hoping to improve on his 9 points. Has not scored since the first half of action. All of his points tonight coming off of a 3-ball. But he can get to double-digit scoring here. Shot is good, so he'll get a second one, or I think he was going to get a second one either way. Lane Tech Jones not in the bonus, but the players looked like they were going for the rebound. The foul for that one was called on Basil, as the second free throw good as well, and now just an 11-point lead for Lane. Zanders, Grunenbaum, Perona, Solibo, and Basil on the court. Basil fires for 3. No good. He gets his own rebound, goes up for, no, tries to go up for 2. Gets trapped, now double team, gets it to Solibo, down low, gets the 2. Solibo with 2 points from that, two baskets from that exact spot. And he was kind of struggling to find where to score during that Battle of the Bridge game. That might be a spot for this season. 45-32 the score. 3:10 to go in the third quarter as Devin Boston has the ball. In the corner, Matar for 3. No good. That will come right into the hands of Lucas Basil. We saw Basil bring the ball up the court a couple times in the first half. Not going to do that here. Perona out to Solibo. Solibo for 3. No good. That's going to be rebounded by Devin Boston. We've seen a couple of scoring droughts in this game where both teams haven't scored, and it looks like we might be entering another one of those here as the teams get kind of tired. Stamina not fully built up for a full 32-minute game just during the first game of the season, as a blocking call going to be called on Solibo. That is his 3rd foul of the night. And a timeout is going to be called by Lane Tech. That will be a full timeout for Lane Tech. Interesting. Calling a couple timeouts quickly here. 45-32 the score. Lane Tech leads by 13. We'll be back in just a second. You're watching Lane Tech basketball on Lane Tech Athletics YouTube channel. Jones Eagles have done a good job keeping this score around the same lead for Lane Tech. The only problem, they have not been able to cut into that lead. 45-32, 13-point Lane Tech lead as we near 2 minutes left in the third quarter. Jordan Boston going to check into the game in a second. Ref not going to allow it right now. As the inbound pass now to Devin Boston gets in, and he'll hand it off to Franklin. Matar, far side, holds it. Now they'll get it top the key. Devin Boston. Jones will need a couple threes, and they got one. 45-35, 10-point Lane Tech lead. Grunenbaum tries for the pass down low to Zanders. It's going to go out of bounds. Two players look like they had a miscommunication there, as Gunen going to come into the game for Grunenbaum. Not Grunenbaum's night tonight. Couple missed passes like that one to go along with. Not a great night shooting for him. As they get into Springer, who dribbles off his foot, and the ball will go to Jones. Springer not gotten a lot of playing time tonight because Basil has been so good. But with Basil on the bench now, Springer kind of playing that big role, though. Zanders looks to be about the same height as him. Nice ball movement here from Jones. They can cut it to single-digit deficit here. Looks as if Lane Tech might have switched to a zone. That's interesting. You don't see that a lot from this team, as Boston pulls for 3, no good. Rebounded by Malloy. Malloy pushing the pace to a wide-open Springer. Springer goes up for the layup and gets it to go. He's up to 3 points on the night, and Lane Tech cushions their lead now up to 12. 90 seconds to go in the third. Samuels gets it, drives in. That's going to be hit by Goonan, however, will go right into the hands of Matar. Franklin, long pass to Boston. Jones really likes to have these long possessions, especially near the end of half. However, I can't imagine they're going to try to hold for a final shot here, especially down so big. Matar thinks about the three, is going to drive the baseline instead, gets it to Franklin. Franklin out to Samuels. Tight defense here from Jones, and I could be mistaken. They're holding this for a long time. Now they'll get it an open three. No good from Samuels, rebounded by Springer, who gets it quickly to Malloy. Malloy pushing the pace to Goonan. First Springer, now Goonan. He gets it to go 49-35. Back-to-back fast break points by Lane Tech. And after Jones looked like they might be quieting the momentum for a little bit, Jones comes back, Lane Tech comes back firing with a 14-point lead. 36.2 seconds left. I did not catch if that was a full or a 30-second timeout. I believe Jones called it. Galbo talking things over with his team on the bench. Parker Springer getting in on the fun. Lucas Basil had all the big man fun in the first half. He exits the game with 20 points. We'll see if he comes back in. But Parker Springer with 5 points quickly. He was at 1. Now he's up to, he's up to 3 points now. But he's definitely making himself involved on the court. And Lane Tech, who's going to need to have a couple big guys step up this year, might be finding their guys tonight. Out of the timeout, it will be Jones College Prep basketball. 14-point Lane Tech lead. Thanks for joining us. Alex Burstein on the call here tonight. Into the game will be Singleton for Jones, who gets it to Jordan Boston. Boston bringing the ball up the court. Now 30 seconds on the clock. I'm guessing that Jones will try to hold here. Samuels driving. Oh, they won't. And they're going to call a blocking foul on Springer. His first of the night. And Samuels, who definitely did not wait around for the clock, will head to the line to shoot two. Bartoli and Rosenkrantz will check in for their respective teams after the first free throw. Samuels, who's expected to take on a good big role for Jones this year, now up to 5 points, but a somewhat quiet night for him. 49-36 to score. 24.2 seconds left in the third quarter. Second free throw from Samuels on its way. That one is good, so he goes 2 for 2 from the line. And Jones staying within striking distance, still down by double digits, but they're not completely out of this one. 17 seconds on the clock. We'll see how Lane does with clock management. Springer thinks about the three, is going to drive instead, out to Rosenkrantz for three. He no good, rebounded by Singleton with 5 seconds. Malloy fighting for it. They'll call a jump ball with 3.1 seconds left. Possession goes towards Lane Tech. Players getting heated a little bit down there. I think Singleton wanted a foul. But possession arrow points towards Lane Tech, and they'll have 3.1 seconds to get a shot off. Goonan with it. Gets it to Malloy. Malloy, clock starts. Goes up for the long two. No good. That will bring us to the end of 3 quarters of play. 49-37 the score. We'll have our first official score of the Lane Tech basketball season in 8 minutes of playing time. We'll be back in just a second. 49-37, Lane leads after 3. You're watching Lane Tech basketball on the Lane Tech Athletics YouTube channel. 8 minutes on the clock, and then we'll have our first final score of the season. Lane Tech leads 49-37 as we enter the final frame of play here at Lane Gymnasium. Fans still in their seats here. It's a doubleheader at Lane Gymnasium. Second game coming up will be Englewood STEM taking on Niles Notre Dame. We don't have the call for that one, but should be an exciting matchup between two teams who have some question marks heading into the year. Englewood STEM, a newer school, so they're just working out the start of that along with a first-year varsity head coach. And Notre Dame obviously graduated a lot of talent from a really strong team last year, and they'll try to adjust to that. Jones will get things started here in the fourth quarter as Jordan Boston brings things up for the Eagles. Boston taking a laid-back approach, gets it to Matar at the top of the key. Your 5 on the court: Singleton, Samuels, Matar, Franklin, and Jordan Boston for the Eagles. As Boston gets it out to Singleton. Singleton to Franklin for 3. He's still looking for his first points of the night. Can't get it. Soar pushing the pace for Lane. Gets it to Goonan. Goonan near the basket. Spin moves. Gets it to Rosenkrantz. Up for 2. No good. Springer gets the rebound, though. And he gets fouled. He'll head to the line to shoot 2. As we see the Notre Dame Dons walk in to the gymnasium, at least some of them, dressed in their green warm-ups. Your 5 on the court right now for Lane Tech will be Malloy, Rosenkrantz, Springer, Goonan, and Soar. As first free throw, no good off the front of the rim for Springer. Tomorrow night, another 5 p.m. tip-off as Lane Tech takes on Englewood STEM. Second free throw, no good from Springer as well, and Jones will get possession after. Ball bounced around a little bit under the basket. Boston, who's really taken on the point guard role the second half, dishes out to Matar. Matar for 3, no good. Boston gets the rebound, though. He's everywhere. And gets it out to Samuels. Samuels, long 3, no good, rebounded. Malloy's going to push the pace for Lane. Malloy, 1-on-3, goes up for the layup. He'll get fouled, heads to the line to shoot 2. These Lane Tech teams, players showing a lot of aggression tonight. That's the second or third time they've taken 1-on-3 fast breaks. I don't think they've scored on any of them, but they've at least gotten to the line a couple of times. Foul called on number 24, Makai Singleton. Yeah, his first free throw on its way. That's good from Malloy. He is up to 7 points on the night. Somewhat modest night for Malloy, but doesn't matter when your team's up by 13. Lane Tech officially reaching the half-century mark, up 50-37. Second free throw on its way. That one is good as well. 51-37, 14-point lead for Lane. Lane back in their press. Looks like it's a little more laid back than what they were running in the first half, but still trying to press from baseline to baseline. Down low to Samuels. Tries for the reverse layup. No good. And Soar will get to push it. This Lane Tech defense playing very fast-paced right now as they get it to Rosenkrantz, who's taking on a much bigger role tonight than he had at all last season. Malloy flying in again. Won't get the and one, but will head to the line to shoot 2. The dangerous thing about Malloy is he can hit the long-range shots, but he really likes to drive. So he's a threat all around the scoring end of things for Lane Tech. Tonight we've seen him drive a lot more than he shot. Seems to be his preference against this Jones team, but he's been drawing the foul and has 8 points to show for it. Can get up to 10 here. As Singleton going to check into the game for Matar. That's an interesting substitution. Matar has like a head on Singleton, head taller. So it will be Devin Boston, Franklin, both of the Bostons, Singleton and Samuel on the court right now. First free throw from Malloy is good, as Grunebaum checks into the game for Springer. So Lane Tech going with no true big right now in the game. Goonan, the tallest guy for Lane, possibly on the court right now, but he still plays more of a forward wing type position. Second free throw, good from Malloy. He goes 3 for 4 on 2 back-to-back trips to the free throw line. He's up to double digits, and Lane Tech is up to a 16-point lead. Boston gets trapped. That'll be tipped out of bounds by Rosenkrantz. Nice defense from him there. But the possession will stay with the Eagles. 53-37, 6:20 to go. Inbound pass to Devin Boston. They'll hand it off to Samuels. Driving, Boston up for two. And we'll have another free throws coming away. Free throws on each side of the court every drive, it seems, for these two teams. Lane Tech making more of them than Jones is right now, though, and that's a big part of their 14-point lead. First free throw, no good from Jordan Boston, who currently has 8 points, to go along with 9 from his brother, Devin Boston. Those two have combined for 17. They had 15 combined in a game against Ladin last year. Not sure what their combined high is, but must be gained somewhere out there. As second free throw, no good. Now Tsor pushing it. Goonan down low, goes up for two. He's got it. Second basket of the night for him. He's up to 4 points as Franklin drives on the other side. Still searching for those first points. Rim just not being friendly to him tonight. Boston now driving, loses it. Rosenkrantz is off to the races. 3-on-1. He'll takes it himself, and that'll be a block by Devin Boston. Lane Tech doesn't touch it, so they will keep possession, but nice job by Devin Boston there, sticking with the play. So Lebo into the game for Zanders. So Lebo does have 4 fouls on him, so don't expect him to be super aggressive. Also, Samuels exits the game for, can't see who that is that just came in. Rosenkrantz for 3, no good, rebounded by Jones. There's going to be a foul called on Goonan, and Jones has the ball. Now they're down by 18, running out of time for a comeback, and Jones is in the bonus, so they'll actually get to shoot some free throws. That's Michael Burke who came into the game, getting his first minutes of the night. Lane Tech still keeping in the 7 or 8 guys that have been playing all night as Goonan checks out of the game for Basel. We've seen all but 5 players who are dressed tonight play for Lane Tech. Jones looks to have maybe 3 or 4 guys who have not played tonight. As first free throw from Boston is good. He gets to double digits, now 10 points on the night for him. 5:24 to go. Oh, sorry, folks. Completely forgot to move the camera for those free throws. My bad. But first free throw was good, 55-38. Second free throw is good as well. Now a 16-point lead for Lane. Malloy gets it to Solibo. Solibo can really play as a big forward or as a guard. You can see showing off his handles here. Passes out to Basel. Basel playing on the perimeter once again as the big. Lane Tech really has all their guys in the perimeter right now. Now Basel will sneak down low. Calls for the ball, doesn't get it. Solibo with it. Passes it to Grunebaum. Grunebaum driving right-hand side out to Rosenkrantz. Rosenkrantz is taking a couple threes from there. Won't take it now. Long pass to a wide-open Solibo. Now wide open Grunebaum. Wide open all around, and that's a 3 from the point guard. 58-39. 4 points on the night for him now. And on the other end, Boston gets it to Franklin. Franklin misses another shot. Still struggling to find the way down the net. And we'll see when Lane starts putting in their subs. Now up by 19. That's going to be a steal by Jordan Boston, who gets the easy lay-in. Now he's up to 10 points. So him and his brother have combined for 21, which is one more than the game's leading scorer, Lucas Basel. Malloy wide open, thinks about the 3, instead passes it down low to Basel. Basel loses the ball. Franklin gonna push it. 3-on-3. That is going to be put out of bounds. It's going to go off of Lane Tech. Lane Tech really prepared for those situations as they have a gold medal winning 3-on-3 coach on their staff, head coach Nick Legalbo. Coached with the 3-on-3 national team, FIBA U18 national team in the FIBA World Cup. Coached the United States to 2 gold medals. No coaching during the games there, but learned a lot from that experience. And you can see in the practices, Lane Tech does a lot of the small side stuff, and that prepares them for those fast break situations like that. 58-41, a 17-point lead for Lane Tech. 3:54 to go in this one. Looks like Lane Tech is going to stick with their 5 guys right now of Zanders, Grunebaum, Malloy, Basil, and Rosenkrantz. Not sure who's going to stay in or go in for Jones. Jones put in Michael Berg a couple minutes ago, who got his first minute of the season. Lane Tech still waiting in to put in their 5 guys who haven't played tonight. It'll be Burke, Singleton, Samuels, Franklin, and both of, and just Jordan Boston out of the timeout for Jones. And it will be Jones basketball, hoping to make a last-minute effort to cut into this Lane Tech lead. So Lebo guarding the inbound. That's a big mismatch there as Samuels pulls for 3, no good. That is rebounded, and Malloy is going to take the fast break. Malloy to Grunebaum. Grunebaum open for 3. Trying for another one. No good. Rebounded by Boston, who's going to push the pace. Boston takes it himself. He just looked like one more step than he could there, but misses the Euro step. Malloy out to Zanders. Zanders for 3. He's got it! Lane Tech pushes the lead to 20, 61-41 on the other side of the court. Samuels misses it. Franklin fakes a 3, drives, goes up for 2, and he has his first points of the night, 61-43. Grunebaum sends to Lebo on the other side of the court. Mismatch, goes in for the easy lay-in and gets it to go. So Lane Tech now looking to keep it at a 20-point lead. 3 minutes to go in the game. Driving in is Boston. He's going to get called for a travel. And possession arrow, it's not possession arrow. Possession will go to Lane Tech. Hayden Matthews and Lorenzo Aquino going to get their first minutes as varsity basketball players for Lane Tech here. Hayden, the sharpshooter for Lane Tech. Aquino, a point guard. Coming in for Zanders and Malloy. So now all but 3 guys getting minutes for Lane Tech tonight as Grunebaum gets the inbound. 2:54 to go. Aquino, point guard, you can say. Hayden Matthews, more of a shooting guard. As Basil goes in for the layup and gets it to go. 22 now on the night for him. And Lane Tech has to be happy with how he's played. And 1 on the other side by Samuels to get up to 8 points. He's put together a solid night. Obviously a sophomore, so has some stuff to develop, but overall good stuff from him. As Omar Bushalumfa going to check into the game for Lucas Basil, another JV guy, or another first-year varsity guy coming up from JV last year, a junior. And for Jones, it's going to be number 5, Chris Childers, coming into the game for Boston. So now the subs coming into this game. Basil leaves after a great game as the free throw is good for the 3-point play from Samuels. 2:30 to go, 65-46. Matthews wide open, gets the layup to go. Matthews comes in and gets some immediate points. A timeout is going to be called. Matthews, a rare senior with it, making his first appearance in varsity as a senior. He did not play as a junior. He wasn't on varsity. Now comes back as a senior, makes the team. He had 14 in the green and gold scrimmage, had 4 threes, and now gets a quick 2 off the bench here in garbage time. 67-46, a 21-point lead for Lane Tech. And this Lane Tech team sometimes struggles to put points on the scoreboard. That is not the case tonight. 2:31 to go in the game. 9 fouls for Lane Tech, so Jones is in the bonus. Not that this game's going to come down to free throws or anything, just in case we do see any fouls. As Mitchell inbounds things to Samuels. Couple subs into the game now for Jones. As Samuels, being guarded by Bushalumfa, goes up for 2. Can't get over it. A little bit of a mismatch there as Aquino gets the rebound He's going to lose the ball. That is going to go off of Jones. And Lane Tech will get basketball. As Saliba will leave the game, and Giuliano DiFranco will head into the game for Lane Tech. Also, Grunebaum checks out, and Carson Spencer comes in. So Lane Tech uses all of their guys tonight. Your 5 on the court now will be Matthews, Aquino, Spencer, DiFranco, and Abushalumfa. 4 of these guys were playing on the JV court together last year, so they know each other very well. Some of the top JV guys for Lane Tech. As Spencer loses the ball, gets it to Matthews. Matthews pulls for 3. No good. Rebounded by Aquino. Abushalumfa pulls for 3. He didn't even jump. No good. Rebounded by Matthews again. And Lane Tech will have a 3rd chance on this possession. Aquino driving up the middle, passes it out to Matthews. Matthews to Abushalumfa. Now Aquino, they're getting it around the perimeter. 1:35 to go. Abushalumfa thinks about the 3, instead drives, gives it out to Matthews. Matthews for 3. He's got it! A line drive 3 for the senior. 5 quick points for him, and Lane Tech has 70 points. They're up by 24. Jones trying to get some late points. As the 2 from, I don't have a 4 on my roster, so. Oh, excuse me, Martin Clements misses the 2. Now Chris Childers, a junior. A lot of juniors on the court right now for both of the teams. It might be everyone except Matthews. As the 2 no good from Samis. And Lane Tech will bring the ball up the court. Aquino hands it off to Matthews. Under a minute to go now in this one. Aquino pulls for the long 2. No good. Rebounded by Jones. Childers gets it. They're going to push the pace. Clements with it. Gives it to Childers. Back and forth between those 2. Get it in the corner now. Down low they get it to Somis. Somis going up for 2. He'll miss it off the backboard. And now Lane Tech will push it. Looks as if Legal was telling them to hold with 30 seconds to go in this one. And this should just about do it, folks. 70-46, 25 seconds to go. Matthews holding it. Tight defense from Jones. Almost a steal there. Now 15 seconds. Passes off to DiFranco. DiFranco gives it to Abushalumfa, who'll give it to Matthews. Now 10 seconds on the clock. They'll give it to Abushalumfa, who looks like he might hold it. And that is going to be the final possession of the game. A dominating win from Lane Tech. Can't Fritz say from tip-off to the end, as Lane Tech struggled for the first 12 minutes or so. It was a tight game, and then they really come alive at the end of the second half. And a great game for Lane Tech. 70-46, the final score. They start the season 1-0. They did that last year. They did that the year before. And they do it in 2021. Big win for Lane by 24 points. And they'll hope they can use this as momentum heading into 2 big clashes the next 2 nights against Inglewood STEM at 5 p.m. tomorrow and Notre Dame at 7 p.m. tomorrow. That's just about going to wrap up our coverage tonight. An all-around team performance from Lane Tech. Some nice passing from Sean Malloy. He ends the game with 10 points, I believe. 22 from Lucas Basil. We saw some nice stuff from the Boston brothers for Jones. They have some potential. They're going to be competing in the White West this season. Hope to get up to the red, but that's just about going to do our coverage tonight. 1-0 the season starts for Lane Tech. Your final score here in game number 1 of the Battle of the Bridge Thanksgiving Tournament. Lane Tech 70, Jones College Prep 46. I'm Alex Burstein. Thanks for joining us. Good night.